Okay, try slow. I want to kill him.
Right at the top of that space. The light space right at the top. At the end, right before the ambulance, just she passes out. In that long strip. Yeah. Well, at least the hat will block the No. That where can I say? I want it to have it set up like it is. So you can have it in front. Where that forward with the desk. Oh. So right in front of that desk there. Yeah. Right there. Okay. Oh, thank you. Good. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good afternoon. There are some empty seats over here to my right. My name is Ray Jennings, and I'm a member of Tom Alonis Hall, Post 84. And on behalf of both the American Legion and the Veterans of Foreign War Post 1926, it is my honor to be the Master of Ceremonies at today's Memorial Day observance. I now call upon the Reverend Michael Santiago, parochial vicar at St. Mary's Church, to give the invocation. Father Santiago.
God, and Creator of all, we ask you to be present to us today so that we may be present to you. We gather today with humble and grateful hearts as we remember the sacrifice in service of so many. Keep us ever mindful of their service and sacrifice so that we will always be grateful for the freedom and liberty that is ours. Grant us the grace to live in such a way that their sacrifice and service will not be in vain. We make this prayer with thankful hearts that are ever mindful of your grace and goodness. Amen.
First and foremost, I hope that you will all find it unnecessary to remind us that you can't hear us, because thanks to one of our Legionnaires, who happens to be not only a Legionnaire but a ham radio operator, and together with Mary Glassman, we have a new sound system. And and I'm very encouraged because nobody has said we can't hear you. I want to recognize our state and local and federal officials who are here with us today. First of all, First Selectman, the Honorable Mary Glassman. Deputy First Selectman, Nancy Hussey. And Selectman Lisa Hevner, Mike Payne, Sean Askham, and Cheryl Cook. Also present are State Representative John Hampton and our Federal Representative Elizabeth Esty. We appreciate your being here to honor our veterans. A few weeks ago, when I met with Mary, it was a very cold, cloudy, rainy spring day. And I accused her, since she's a chief executive of this town, of ordering this kind of weather. Well, fair is fair, and you know, today was supposed to be near 90 degrees, but she somehow had the clouds come over, so we're going to give her credit for it. And I now call on Mary to bring the town's greetings.
Good afternoon, veterans, family, friends, town officials, federal officials. Thank you all for joining us here today to celebrate this wonderful Memorial Day. I want to first thank the American Legion Post 84 and the members of VFW for Post 1926 for a wonderful coordination in bringing this wonderful celebration. It takes a lot of work, and particularly the veterans who marched today. Let's give them all a big round of applause. You know, today's a very special day, a very important day for our community. It's a day that we come together, we take a moment to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice in serving our country so that we could all be here as free people to celebrate and enjoy our freedom. We're very grateful to all of the veterans who've served our country. We remember those we've lost. We thank those who serve, and we thank those who are all here today. So let's give all of our veterans a big, warm round of applause for their service. In this morning's Terrifield Parade, we had a wonderful speaker, Joan Nagy, who did a great job reminding us that while we think of Memorial Day with our head as a time to celebrate with family, friends, barbecues, we need to move our thoughts of Memorial Day to our heart, to place in our hearts all those veterans who've given their lives, who serve our country. And she told an important story about how we need to, every day, remember those who serve our country. We're very grateful for a wonderful celebration today. Hopefully next year, we'll march a little farther, a little longer, and we'll stop in front of the library to celebrate a new Veterans Memorial. I want to thank, yes, let's have a big round of applause for that. I'm going to give a shameless plug to the efforts of the American Legion and the VFW who want a fitting memorial to honor our veterans. Today kicks off the hard work and efforts of having that memorial in front of our library, and with your help, we'll be celebrating appropriately just down the street. So thank you all for sharing this wonderful Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day to all our veterans and to our families. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Mary. There is a significant number of organizations involved in producing and executing today's Memorial Day program, and I want to recognize them, but please hold your applause until all have been mentioned. Of course, the members of the American Legion and the Veterans of Foreign Wars who helped organize both the Terrifield and the Simsbury Parade. It's a major undertaking, and it involves many hours. The chairman of these entire efforts is Bob Gauthier, who's sitting right over here. And the commander of the American Legion Post is Bruce Elliott, and the commander of the VFW Post is John Romano, and along with many others, they comprise the parade committee. I'd like to thank Navy Captain Tom Turisco, who's over here, for again serving as the Grand Marshal, and his very pretty granddaughter, Sarah Lostowski, for being the Poppy Queen. Incidentally, Tom's son is home from active duty in the Army, and he returned home to carry the Army flag during the parade today. He's currently at Fort Drum, and we appreciate the fact that he was willing to step in and carry the Army flag. We have some 860 veterans in this town that we know about. The number is probably closer to 900 because there are some people, for whatever reason, have not presented their discharge papers to the assessor to get the abatement that all of those folks have earned. But to those of you who participated in today's events, remember those veterans who have passed on and deserve everyone's thanks. These men who participated today salute all veterans who safeguard our hard-won freedoms. The veterans, just a note here, veterans will note that in the past 5 years there were phone calls made to all the veterans. This year we did not initiate phone calls for two reasons. The first is that there are so many people who have changed their landlines to cell phones, and their cell phones numbers are very hard to get. So instead this year we sent out letters to all the veterans, and because we have all their addresses, and so we thought that was a more effective way to begin communicating. But we hope that everyone recognizes the need to participate in this observance every year, and that they are and will be conditioned to show up on Memorial Day. After all, when we pass on, those who succeed us will hopefully honor us. In organizing the placement of flags on the veterans' graves, Dick Dart and Tom Cronin, with the help of the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, the town itself for providing money, providing police protection, providing some portable restrooms, having the streets cleaned, and for traffic control. Fitzgerald supplied bottled water at all the parade sites. The First Church provided its parking lot, restroom facilities, and the church's bus to transport veterans to the mustering points. And I'm told the driver was the Reverend himself, so there was no chance of any problem there. The Masonic Lodge provided coffee, water, and restroom facilities. The musicians of the Simsbury High School Band the musicians of the Simsbury High School Band, led by Lisa Abel. John Zaniski, who worked with the two trumpet players in the band, who will play taps in a short while. The Simsbury Police Honor Guard and Firing Squad. Debbie Payne and the DAR for providing rides to the veterans' cars, and for providing parade marshals, and for providing folks to man a table, which I don't quite know where it is, but that table will have some forms on it for veterans to take, to fill in, and for the purchase of a paver for the new memorial. You'll hear a little bit more about that shortly. the Valley Car Club, as well as other owners of vintage vehicles, Simsbury Community Television for filming the parade, Will O'Hare, who will be playing the bagpipe shortly, and if you'll turn around and look at the entrance to the cemetery, you will see him in his absolutely wonderful regalia. The flyover today was provided by the Yankee Clippers with ground coordination by Future Flyers of Connecticut Flight School located at our own Simsbury Airport. Steve Smith, who is sitting over here to my left, is in radio control with the aircraft, and we will soon find out if his and my navigation skills are still intact. The Flyers consist of 1 Navy and 2 Air Force pilot veterans. The Navy pilot flew F-14 Tomcats off aircraft carriers. The 2 Air Force pilots flew B-1 bombers. And each pilot today is flying an aircraft that they themselves built. The missing man formation, which they will soon fly, is performed to honor those who have lost their lives in service to our country. Most of all, I want to thank the participating veterans. We had something like 68 or 70 marchers, including the color guard and the service flags. And I'm not sure how many riders there were, but I think it was upwards of 30 or 40. I think honoring those who have departed, they would have appreciated the efforts that were made today to honor them. Now please join me in thanking all of those people who made this event possible. Welcome everyone to the 2014 Memorial Day ceremony. Memorial Day is a day that was begun as Decoration Day after the Civil War that ended in 1865. Today, observances honor the men and women who died while serving in the United States Armed Forces in all wars. Since the Revolutionary War, Simsbury has had 104 residents who've paid the ultimate sacrifice. By extension, we honor all servicemen and women lying in our cemeteries. 1,428 flags were placed on veterans' graves this year. Doylestown, Pennsylvania lays claim to the first parade in 1867. In the following year, a proclamation was issued by General John Logan, who was the commander of the Grand Army of the Republic. And that proclamation said that Decoration Day should be observed as a national day of remembrance, and that posts and comrades, in their own way, will arrange such fitting services and testimonials of respect as circumstances may permit. We are here today to fulfill Simsbury's commitment to that proclamation. May 30, and more recently the last Monday in May, is the day chosen by Congress as the day of observance for 2 reasons. First, it is a day on which no battle is commemorated. And second, it is the optimal date for flowers to be in bloom, as it was an early practice to put flowers on the graves of veterans. In 1915, the tradition of selling and wearing poppies was begun, with the benefits going to servicemen in need. The practice died out, but was resumed in 1922 with the help of the veterans of foreign wars. Our VFW post continues that tradition today. The earliest record of a parade in Simsbury was 1917. So 3 years from now, we'll mark the 100th anniversary of our first Memorial Day parade. Obviously, this patriotic tradition is well established in our town. On Memorial Day, the flag of the United States is raised briskly to the top of the staff and solemnly lowered to half-staff, where it remains until noon. It then is raised to the full staff for the remainder of the day. That occurred with all town flags today. Many times in history, Simsbury's residents have responded to the call for military service. All those who responded paid a price. Families paid a price too. Today is a day to remember those who have fallen and those who have served honorably in war or peacetime, returned and chosen to live in our town and ultimately to be buried here. Please keep in mind and thought those who are representing our country around the world, too many of whom have returned with serious injuries. Without their sacrifices, our freedoms would be meaningless. Let it be a reminder to all of us that freedom is not free. May this country never take the sacrifices of veterans for granted. In the words of the American country songwriter and artist, to whom our young people will probably be able to relate, Lee Greenwood, from his song, God Bless the USA, God Bless the USA, quote, "And I'm proud to be an American where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me." At this time, the American Legion and the Veterans of Foreign Wars are able to make a very important announcement, and I invite Len Lanza to the podium to make it.
Thank you. I shall be very brief. Although everybody here knows I can't say my name, rank, and serial number in less than 5 minutes. The announcement is simply that we've kicked off the fundraising campaign. It's underway. If you have not had an opportunity to look at this poster board over here, or the one down by the lamppost over there, or go to the table where Big Jack, Jack Vorvard is waving his white hat, similar to mine. He's manning the table with the order forms for the pavers for the memorial. Cutting right to the chase, the 4x8 bricks will be $120. The 8x8 bricks will be $200. And I'd like to clarify that it must be a veteran's name or an organization on those pavers. They're intended to honor someone, not necessarily who lived in Simsbury or lives in Simsbury. The veteran can live in California if you wish to honor that veteran by having a paver placed in the Remembrance Plaza. We'll have no commercial announcements of any kind on any of the pavers in the plaza. And Jack has the order forms at the table if you'd stop over there. And otherwise, there's information on there's a new sign at the site of the memorial, which is at the entrance to the driveway on the left side of the Simsbury Public Library. And the sign has information for our names and telephone numbers for information or to make donations. I think that'll do it for today. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Each year since 1981, the American Legions and Veterans of Foreign Wars have presented an award for citizenship to an individual or group making a significant contribution to the causes supported by the town's veterans. Our two organizations have chosen this year Terry Ann Hahn, principal in the firm LADA Partnership Corporation Land Planners. Located on West Street, LADA is a firm providing landscape architectural design services. She has been working with the veterans for nearly 3 years on this project, and there's going to be more time that she has to spend on it. The firm specializes in a wide variety of projects: master plans, environmental impact statements, erosion control plans, stormwater monitoring, quality control, visual impact analysis, feasibility studies, peer review, and after the last nearly 3 years, veterans memorials. She has more licenses than I can count. She earned her BA from St. John's College, that's the one in Annapolis, Maryland, and her MA from Cornell University. She's no stranger to the military. Her dad, Albert, was an electrician's mate on the submarine USS Irex, SS-248, which was homeported in Groton. Also, her uncle served in the Army in Vietnam, and her brother-in-law served 3 tours in the Army in Iraq and Afghanistan. It is interesting to note that when Terry was considering college, the Naval Academy was one option considered. Had she gone there, she would have been in the first class there to accept women. Alas, she chose St. John's. And when you think of it, I could have been introducing Admiral Hahn. Terry, please join me at the podium. The plaque that we're presenting reads thusly: Simsbury Veterans 2014 Community Service Award presented to Terry Ann Hahn, LADA PC Land Planners, who through her dedicated patriotic service towards the creation of the Simsbury Veterans Memorial has enriched the lives of her fellow citizens. Signed, Bruce Elliott, Commander, American Legion, John Romano, Commander, VFW. Terry, congratulations.
Thank you, Ray. I just want to say that it's been a pleasure working with Ray, Len Lanza, Bruce Elliott, Chuck Forrestall, and that was the initial group who, it seemed like month after month, I had to say, we need a new site, it's not going to work, or we need a new design, nobody likes it. So after 4 sites and 16 designs, I think we came up with something that works very well. And I would just like to note that it is Veterans Day, and as a American citizen, to think that a woman, as a property owner, as a business owner, who has a choice in how they want to live and where they want to live, we could not possibly imagine what it's like in other countries. But it's those veterans who enable us to choose the life that we wish to live in America. Thank you very much.
Our speaker today is Debbie Payne. She is no stranger to this podium because, as you will recall, those of you who were here last year, she received our Citizenship Award last year. She's lived in our town for 35 years and had a long career in education, including the teaching in Connecticut elementary and middle schools and in colleges. Her volunteer activities have included scouting, the Old Drake Flower Bridge, and because of her unflagging support of the veterans organizations in Simsbury, the Citizenship Award in 2013. Presently, she is the regent of the Abigail Phelps chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution. She's also the state historian for the DAR. In these posts, she has been involved in many DAR projects involving historic preservation and the promotion of historical education and patriotism. She and the DAR are great friends and supporters of both the American Legion and the Veterans of Foreign Wars, and we appreciate her for it. Our speaker for 2014, Debbie Payne.
Thank you. It's an honor to be included in this service. As we gather here today in the heart of our beautiful community, we enjoy our constitutional rights of free speech, free assembly, elected leadership, and so many other freedoms that we take for granted. Today is the day to recognize those who secured these rights for us with their lives. We are here because, in addition to all the other things we may be as individuals, we are patriotic Americans. We are united today to honor the men and women who served in our armed forces to protect our nation and promote the cause of freedom. Today is the day we are called upon to reflect on the true cost of that freedom. Since our beginning as a nation, through all the horrific wars and challenges to our national security, those serving in our military have always put duty and sacrifice above all else. Our country was founded on ideas, a belief in a republic, and a framework of guiding documents, all of which would be meaningless without the men and women who took the oath and were ready to serve, knowing that they may have to give their lives for their country and its ideals. The true cost of freedom? Over 1 million dead in service to our country since 1775. Many laid to rest in foreign soil, and so many declared missing in action and resting in unknown graves. That is the cost of freedom. When we gather to remember the fallen and express our gratitude for their sacrifice, we help to strengthen our country by inspiring a sense of national unity and patriotism that will help all Americans remember that we are one nation under one flag and the greatest nation on earth. I believe it is also our obligation to the fallen to ensure that our children understand the vital role of our veterans. Just as our generation will be defined by what we were willing to do and sacrifice to defend our freedom, so will theirs. America is the land of the free and the home of the brave, but we must remember to teach our children that this is only so because the brave came first. Recently, a National Defense Act authorized the Secretary of Defense to conduct a national program to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War. This program is designed for federal, state, and local community organizations, as well as veterans groups, to assist a grateful nation in thanking and honoring our Vietnam War veterans and their families. The DAR has become a commemorative partner, and we will join with other Connecticut groups to express sincere respect for a generation that served bravely. Many held as prisoners of war, many others listed as missing in action, and 58,000 soldiers, Marines, airmen, sailors, and Coast Guardsmen who lost their lives. I think some of you may be able to relate to this. The Vietnam War occurred during the years that transitioned me from childhood to adulthood. Until the late 60s, wars were something in my textbooks and old black and white movies. Like many teens, I was somewhat self-centered and too focused on where my life was going to understand a faraway war and the divided feelings about it. The war became real to me only when a number of young men from my class enlisted and were sent to Vietnam. I remember the shock and disbelief I felt when the first young man that I actually knew was killed. How could that be? He was someone just like me, the same age, with so much to look forward to in life. Time passed, and many more names were added to the list of friends, classmates, acquaintances, and others. So many young men forever gone from their homes and families. I felt sorrow, sympathy, and anger. But there was another emotion that I couldn't quite define. The years passed, the war ended. Over time, memories faded. Then in 1986, President Ronald Reagan gave a speech at Arlington Cemetery. One line jumped right out at me. He said, "The willingness of some to give their lives so that others might live never fails to evoke in us a sense of wonder and mystery." That was the exact feeling that I could not define in my youth, a sense of wonder and mystery. Now, so many years later, after more wars, I am still filled with that sense of wonder and mystery when I reflect on those who gave their lives. More so than ever, because I'm at a stage of my life when I can look back and count my blessings. The gifts of raising a family, enjoying children and grandchildren, a satisfying career, a good life. But all of the fallen, each one unique with his or her own story, never experienced the full measure of these gifts. We are here to express respect and gratitude for the men and women who made this ultimate sacrifice from the Revolutionary War to the present. I look around at everyone gathered here in this beautiful Norman Rockwell setting, and I feel so blessed to be an American and part of this wonderful community as we observe this holiday of remembrance in such a meaningful way. Memorials are another way that we honor the fallen. Each name carved in stone, a lasting tribute to that individual and his or her sacrifice. But in a sense, memorials are more for the living. They may bring comfort to families who want to be reassured that their sacrifices will not be forgotten. They provide a place of quiet reflection. They are a lasting reminder of our responsibility as citizens to honor the memories of the fallen and stand united in our resolve to preserve our history and strengthen national pride and patriotism. Thanks to the hard work and efforts of the Simsbury Veterans of Foreign War and the American Legion, Simsbury will soon have a beautiful memorial honoring those who gave everything for their country. The Abigail Phelps Chapter DAR would like to present this check for the building fund. Our chapter and all of us gathered here today are but a small part of a grateful nation. Thank you.
As the chief fundraiser for this memorial, I very much appreciate this. Keep them coming. Thank you, Debbie. I want to remind everyone that Congress passed a bill permitting veterans to salute wearing a cover or no cover. At this time, I ask everyone to stand. Captain Tom Tarisco and Petty Officer Len Lanza place wreaths on the Veterans Memorial. And please observe a moment of silence as they do this, as Will O'Hare pipes Amazing Grace. In 1868, rifles were fired in the air to salute soldiers who had given their lives to keep the United States together. Commander of the Rifle Squad. Salute the dead. Veterans, hand salute. Two. At the conclusion of today's proceedings, the high school band will present a medley of service songs. But at this time, the high school band, under the direction of Lisa Abel, will now honor America with the playing of our national anthem. Father Santiago will now offer the benediction.
God of all goodness and mercy, we ask that you bless all who have assembled this day to remember the sacrifice of so many. May your blessing grant us a renewed sense of gratitude for the service of so many who have given their lives for us. So may you bless and keep us now and forever. Amen.
Veterans returning to the First Church parking lot, please meet the bus over here on Station Street. Thank you all for participating. Excuse me. Thank you all for participating. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day. This assemblage is dismissed.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.